I have one thing that I wanted to say about this whole journey and about your description of what you're doing with girls' security, which is that we started off talking about empathy and how necessary it is to help girls learn the empathy and feel that we're empathic towards them as they're starting off their journey in this sort of scary space. But the other piece is that by giving them that feeling of belonging and by giving them the capacity to have their own security, feeling supported in the space, you're basically creating an empathic future workforce, right? So you're saying that, you know what, security is going to be what you make it.
Yeah.
More and more of you go into the workforce, it will necessarily change. And so I'm always a future leaning person. So I just want to say, like, how it is now is how it is now, but you're training the future to be different.
That's the
And
hope.
it's awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. Someone asked me, I get this question a lot. It's a different version, but the idea that someone asked me is sort of how do you reconcile advancing girls into a container? That was the word this person used,
Mm.
that will force them to take its shape. And
Well,
Ooh.
because that'll change.
because it'll change. And my only response was, um, if you concede that you believe that containers can't be changed, then why do we invest anything in social change and progress and advancement? And I get that question more often than you might think, and I find it to be quite a misogynistic question, actually, in a way, because it assumes a lot about what girls and women can or cannot do vis-a-vis systems.
Exactly.
So, I do believe if at minimum we build these peer networks where people feel supported, there's various layers of value in the work that we're doing that I've drank the Kool-Aid. I believe in it. Like
Are you
I'm all in.
are you familiar with the term mail ordered organizations?
No,
Okay,
no.
this is just Google it. There
Okay.
was someone who came up with the term and wrote some business journal article about it 30 years ago, mail ordered.
Mail
And,
ordered.
and she
Okay.
makes the very, very good point that organizations take on the characteristic personalities, behavior codes of the founding generations.
Ooh,
The founding generations of almost all the organizations that exist were men. So inevitably, and it's not like a knock on the men, or it's not there's nothing they could have done about it. They were the ones who established the military. They were the ones that established corporations. So their values are almost invisibly weaved into the organization.
yeah.
And one of my favorite examples of mail orderedness, which is not even transparent to people, is the design of cockpits in the Air Force of fighter planes. And I met with a group of young, or not young, various ages of women who were in the Air Force. And they said that you have to be 5'9" or taller to sit in the cockpit, to operate the cockpit of certain types of fighter jets. And it was, no one really knows why it was designed that way, but it just discriminates against women and, of course, men under 5'9". And they didn't really discover it until they started investigating why there weren't more women fighter pilots, even though they had now made it totally okay for women to become fighter pilots. And that's when they investigated this artifact of a mail ordered system. And it is everywhere. It's in how we think about childcare. It's how we think about work-life balance. It's how we think about the container. It's how we
Yeah.
think about the importance of being hard and domineering at work. All of that just represents the values of the founding generations, who happen to be men.